Hey, what's up everyone? Eric with Bluff Coast here. Today I'm going to be replacing the clutch slave cylinder on my 87 Westfalia. So if you go into the engine bay here, the clutch slave cylinder is back there in the back left corner. And you'll see there's two mounting bolts. There's one here, one on the back side back there, and then there's also a hydraulic line. You can kind of see it back in there. That'll be the hydraulic fitting that you'll also need to get the bolt off of that. The first step that I did was just to clean off some of the bolts around here. I'm probably going to be hitting them with some penetrating oil as well, but I was just kind of getting all the dirt off of here to make sure that nothing got into the system. So here under the van you can also access the clutch slave cylinder on the driver's side of the transmission. This line here will be going right to it, as you can see up there. So that'll be the next step, is just to loosen up that hydraulic fitting on the back side. Loosen that bad boy up, but don't remove it entirely. So using a 12mm wrench, I'm just gonna start loosening that hydraulic fitting nut on the back side of the slave cylinder. Oh, I've got a 10, that's probably my issue. Here's the 12. Just get it loose enough, but just be careful not to remove it entirely. Alright, now on to the fun part. You're back up here in the engine bay. You're going to want to loosen these two mounting brackets, or mounting bolts on the mounting bracket, using a 13mm. I'm going to hit them with some PB Blaster and hopefully they break loose. I've been trying a little bit and they're pretty tight, so. Alright, I got that loosened up at least. Alright, so underneath the van here, you can see that's the back side of the mounting bracket bolt. And you can access that with a ratchet and socket. And then I just used a 13mm wrench to hold the nut from above. So I went up there with my socket. So it's possible to show on camera, but if you loosen from down here and hold that wrench solid and steady, you're able to break that nut free. I was able to with just using some PB Blaster, so you kind of got to get your arms in a weird position, but yeah, it works to loosen that up. Alright, so you're going to want to get that almost completely loosened so that you're able to then remove the slave cylinder. I obviously already have it out, but getting this front mounting bolt was the hardest part, getting that out. So what I ended up doing was have a helper move this coolant hose back out of the way so that you could access the head of the bolt under there. You kind of have to just stick a 13mm wrench down under there, like kind of like that, to hold the head of the bolt. And then we used this thing with a 13mm to loosen the bolt end of it. So it's kind of a two-man job getting that part out, just because the mounting bracket is kind of designed weirdly. So alright, so we got the front side closer to the engine bay nut loose. Now it's time to remove the cylinder. So I'm going to completely undo this hydraulic fitting now. Alright, so I finally got the hydraulic fitting undone back there. And now you can remove these the rest of the way and pull it out. Got the front one off. Except I dropped the nut back there, or the bolt. So make sure to hold on to that and don't make the same mistake that I did. Also, at this point, your slave cylinder will be leaking some fluid, so just be aware of that. Maybe put something under there. Alright, got the back one off. There it is. Alright, so it's now time to take your new slave cylinder and mount it in there. The first thing I'm going to do is put a little bit of grease into this ball end joint. I've just got some all-purpose grease here. Just gonna put it into this end here. Definitely don't need a ton, but just to get that lubed up. So now I'm going to install this. Make sure to have the hydraulic fitting line going towards the front of the van. One thing I forgot to mention too, before you put on the new slave cylinder, you'll want to put both your mounting bolts back into the bracket so that you can just slide the new slave cylinder right onto there without having to get underneath it again, because you won't be able to access these again. I'm just holding this bolt up underneath with my finger and just slide it down into the hole. Kind of gotta tweak it in there a little bit, maybe. Oh, gotta get it under that lip, and then just make sure it slides right over the bolts there when you put it down, like that. There we go. And then once you have it mounted in here, you'll want to put the bolt over this end here just so it doesn't slide through, because that'll be the hardest part to get through.
When reinstalling the nuts, I also added a bit of anti-seize so that they're a little bit easier to get off next time around.
Just thread that on there enough so it doesn't fall through. Okay, I have both of the mounting bolts tightened by hand. Make sure to remove the little dust cap from the back where the hydraulic fitting goes in. And then you'll want to just fit it right in here. Mine doesn't really tighten by hand, so I'll probably get a 12mm wrench and just start tightening in there. Gotta do this over and over and over again. Alright, I'm going to be using the same method to tighten this down just to spec. You basically just need to keep that head steady under the mounting bracket, under this, so that you can tighten this down effectively. Just make sure everything's tight. Make sure you have the hydraulic fitting in the back, and also the ball and cup in place down there, and you should be good to go. Hopefully that all made sense. I know this is a common problem with Vanagons, so this is definitely an important piece. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Stay coastin'.